Public Charter Schools Parent University series. I am Charmaine Carter, the Director of Parent Relations here at Friendship Public Charter School, and we want to welcome you. Today, we will be discussing tips to save for the holidays. I'm very excited about our guest. He is no stranger to friendship. He's spoken for our high school students and our families before on finances. And if you have any questions after this presentation is over, please email us at wecare@friendshipschools.org. You can also visit us on our website at www.friendshipschools.org. If you are a prospective parent and you are a resident of DC and you are looking to enroll your scholar into our schools, our application opens in a couple of weeks. And you can learn more about us and apply for us on our website. And we hope that you will decide to join us. So let's go ahead and get started. Tony, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Antonio Black. I am a CPA licensed in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. I am an investor. I'm an auditor. My full daytime job is an auditor, but also provide financial coaching to folks. And I just love talking about money whenever I get an opportunity, because I know that personal finances is definitely a key to living a happy life, living an everyday happy life. And that's just a little bit about me. I have my wife here. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hey everyone, my name is Erica Black. I'm also a real estate investor and all those things that he mentioned. In addition to that, I am a real estate agent. I'm actually a top ranking real estate agent in the DMV area, and I'm just here to join my husband so that we both can share tips with you for this holiday.
That's right, holiday savings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing, if you haven't noticed about this season, this is our first holiday in this pandemic, COVID-19. And I feel like I've seen so many advertisements, and maybe because I'm more at home now and I'm actually watching them, but I feel like the holidays and shopping and sales is just more in your face, right? It's just right there. And so if you're not careful, retail therapy can be something that you go to cope during the pandemic, and even if it's not in your budget. And so a lot of times throughout this year, you know, people go out of budget and end up becoming broke sometimes. Or if that hasn't happened to you in the past, if you're not careful, if you tend to retail therapy right now in this season, it could happen to you now. So I'm really excited about some of the tips. Do you have any comments about what you've seen lately during this pandemic, especially?
I've been reading a lot about what's happening, and obviously people at home, so a lot more money is funneled into the social medias, because people are on social media. People want to connect. We're social beings, and so for the most part, we are connecting with each other on the social media sites. And so companies recognize that, and they direct actual specific directed advertisements to that person, because social media can allow companies to see the things that you like and directly advertise to you and extract as much money from your pockets as they possibly can.
I've noticed that too, like, especially if I'm looking at something in the middle of the night. During the pandemic, I had some trouble sleeping at one time. And so, retail therapy was my thing, like maybe around like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I would go shopping, or I would look at least. And then when I would wake up, I would go back, and then bam, there it is. The thing that I was looking at just right in my face, like, you want to.
Exactly.
Yeah, and definitely I noticed on Amazon, I was looking at something and they'll just say, if it's something in your cart or something that you save later, they'll keep popping that up like, hey, do you still need this pair of these boots or something? And I was just getting alerts from Amazon. So you can deactivate that. I deactivate it. Like, I don't want to get an alert saying, hey, this is still coming in my cart.
The goal is to part you and your money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes. So let's go ahead. I'm ready to take notes. I'm ready to hear some of these tips that you have for our holiday savings.
All right. All right. So this is the time of year. We know that, as we mentioned before, that advertisers, companies, they have psychologists that actually understand how humans think, how we think, and how we respond to different stimulus. And so um, that's what we're seeing nowadays. Is people are seeing the bright signs that say buy now will make you feel better. And so what we hope today is that the tips that we share with you on just the holiday savings will help allow you to keep more of your money in your pocket. Mm-hmm. And so first tip. Let's get ready. First tip. I have some good and some bad news. So tip number one. All right, tip number one is the bad news is, unfortunately, you all missed a lot of the deals for the holidays. So what deals am I talking about? For my Amazon shoppers, we missed the Prime Day that happened in October 13th and the 14th. We just had Thanksgiving, and the day after Thanksgiving, which is Black Friday. And so those are some of the best deals that you can get for a lot of different categories of consumer goods. Pretty much, anything you can buy, there was a deal for it on Black Friday. But in addition, moving forward, Cyber Monday was another day of deals. And so that was missed. And so, you're working behind the 8 ball. The deals have been missed, but they're not completely gone. Stores will still find little deals here and there that they will advertise. And if it's something that you had on your shopping list, you could take advantage of that list. And so that tip number one is plan ahead. You have to plan ahead so that you don't get caught up in the mania, the shopping mania, the retail mania. And so while you're planning ahead, you have to have that budget planned. You have to have a budget set for what you plan to spend on. And I know that we would love to give gifts to everyone in our family, our friends, people we just met yesterday, but we just fell in love with. You can't buy a gift for everybody. You can give the gift of love. You can say, hey, good friend, I just thought about you. I wanted to get you a gift, but I don't have the money right now. So I just thought about you. And so the thought that counts, they say the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts, right? So the thought is, I thought about giving you something, but I just didn't get it. I didn't have the opportunity to get it for you. But I still love you, and I thought about you. And so, but yeah, that's it. And
I got a shameless plug though, right? So if you can't give a gift, next week, next Wednesday, we are doing a DIY art project that you do for families where you may not be able to actually purchase an expensive gift for them. It's a homemade gift that you can make.
That's right. And that means so much more. The story behind the gifts, those creative gifts that we receive. Now, when I remember the video game system that my mom gave for me on Christmas, maybe not. But if it was something that was, that took a lot of thought and took a lot of time and energy, and there's a story behind it, I think those are the things. Those are the gifts that are so much more memorable. Yeah. And so that's what, as Charmaine mentioned, that creative gift, and that's part of one of my tips.
So I want to just add something right there.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I'm originally from North Carolina, Char. You know that, right? And so growing up in North Carolina, I had a large family. My grandma had 9 kids. So she had so many grandkids and great grandkids. So I remember her just giving us the little bag. Any shout out to all the people that remember the little bag with the little nuts and the candy, and you got the apple, and I just love that. And I was, you remember that? So I was telling Tony about that the other day, and it was so memorable. It made an impact on me. Like I still remember my grandmother. She didn't have a lot, but she still did that baggie every Christmas.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you remember what I got you last Christmas?
What did you get?
Probably not. It's that baggie she remembers. It's the thought, the nostalgia of something that was just so simple. So simple. But it meant a lot, and that's that memory that's created, the memory behind something that someone was creative to get you, a bag of nuts, some apples, or something like that. But it's that memory that's more memorable than a video game or a necklace, unless the necklace has some creative thing behind it.
And just spending, I mean, right now with Corona, of course, we can't physically spend time with each other.
Right.
But you know, those Zoom calls, when I had the Zoom Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Zoom, whatever you want to call it, hashtag. But when we did that, my family was just like, "Oh my God, you know, it's so good to see you. You're all the way, you know, you're all the way in New Jersey, or you're here, you're there." Like, I feel like even though we didn't get to meet each other in person,
Right.
we got to see more people than we would have normally at a Thanksgiving because we utilized Zoom. So that time is still going to be something that people cherish. So I say do a Zoom for a Christmas if you didn't do one for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I think it's really notable that when you asked your wife, Tony, what did you get her from last year, she didn't even remember. And so oftentimes we stress ourselves out with trying to get people who aren't, I mean, that's close, right? You're spouses and you don't even remember what your own spouse gave you. And so we're stressing ourselves out trying to figure out who to give someone who we're not even as close to a gift, and then they probably don't remember. But yeah, like I love the thought behind it. You know, people always say it's the thought that counts, but it really is. Those are what makes the gift giving so much more memorable than just or asking what you want for the holiday and then just giving them something that, you know, they wanted that may be out of your budget.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so when you mention that, the memorable gift, so my wife knows that I always wanted a motorcycle. So when I was 35 years old, she got me a replica motorcycle that was, you know, it was about that big. And so she was like, "You wanted a motorcycle, so here you go." And so I remember that. Now, I might not remember every other thing that she got me, but I remember that little motorcycle because I was just like, this, you know what I really wanted. But I understand that the thought that you remembered that I wanted a motorcycle and you got me a little toy replica motorcycle. And so those are the little things that just come back to you. And so moving on to the next holiday saving tip is that, you know, a part of your plan, you have to have that shopping list and you have to narrow it down. It's, you know, because I mentioned a budget. So you have to have a shopping list and you have to make sure that shopping list fits that budget, directly planned. And what do we say? And I'm sure a lot of parents have heard growing up, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And when it comes to your money, you cannot fail because there's so many, it's like a domino effect. If your money is not right, that domino gets pushed over because if you can't pay your rent, or your mortgage, you get kicked out. If you can't pay your car bill, it gets repossessed. You can't pay your light bill, lights go off. You know, so on and so forth. So that domino effect. So be very mindful. If you plan to fail, you plan to fail. And so when you make that shopping list, and when we talk about planning for holiday gifts can start in January. It can start after Christmas. So you kind of get an idea of what people want. You know, whoever in your family that you're going to give the gift for, have an idea of what you want to get them. You know, maybe, you know, it's sad, but some parents or some kids or some people say, you know what, I really wanted this. And this is on Christmas Day. They got all their gifts, they cracked everything open. And I will, you know, and later on in the day, during Christmas dinner or something like that, they have a conversation. You know what? I really wanted X for Christmas. And it's like, for real, you got all this crap that you know you're going to use for a period of time, but you think, you know, people start talking about what they want next year. And so for me, I try to remember in my planning is to remember those things that my wife brings up or someone brings up. And I say, okay, you know, point, you know, a note there. I'm going to write it down on my notes app. I'm going to put it, you know, send a text message to myself that such and such person wanted this item or they were interested. So that shows that I'm listening, especially for husbands. You know, that shows that you're listening to your wife when you get her something.
So you said making that shopping list, And why that's important also is because let's say you put something in your Amazon shopping list, but it usually show, hey, are there other retailers that is cheaper at on the Amazon platform?
Mhm.
But also like just making sure you're doing your research across different stores. So
right.
for example, my fitness trainer has been training me so hard that I broke my Fitbit. I broke my Fitbit. And I just looked around, even the Black Friday deals, like I found another retailer that had it cheaper outside of the holiday specials.
Uh-huh.
So that's why it's important to put it in the cart so it'll,
That's right.
it'll show up.
And so not only using Amazon, another tip is when you're planning ahead, you start to have an idea of what you put in your cart, but also there are websites that allow you to price alert. When something comes up and the price continues to drop, they will give you an alert. And then some of these websites will let you know that that website believes that that price will not go any lower than what it's at currently. And so that's the best time to buy that item. But normally, Black Friday, Prime Day, and Cyber Monday are where you get the best deals, especially on electronics, household electronics and things of that nature. So the next tip is for folks who get a little crazy and don't feel that emotion when they're swiping their credit card, use cash.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying once you have that budget, like I know that I'm only going to spend XYZ for
That's right.
Christmas, I'm going to go ahead and get that in cash in my hand.
That's right.
And once it's gone, that's it.
That is it.
Okay.
You can put on, that is it. And the emotion of spending $100 or $200 or $300 or $1,000, the emotion of giving that money away, it hits you right at your heart, especially for broke folks. When you give that last bit, that last dollar, you feel it. And so
it's gone.
It's gone. It's not coming back. It's not coming back. So
I love that. I wanted to shout out my husband. I'm sure that you've seen it, but my husband has been saving up all year because I broke my wedding band when I was pregnant, and that was 3 years ago. So I haven't had a wedding ring since then, and so I couldn't find the warranty on my paperwork. It wasn't in the system, so I wasn't able to fix it. So it was just a ring just sitting there broken. And so, people have asked me about it. He knows that, I wasn't able to wear it. And he made it a goal. Like you said, he wrote down his list. He was like, okay, my wife will not go another year without a ring. So at the beginning of the year, this is how far ahead he planned it. At the beginning of the year, he started saving for a ring. And my boss was laughing because she was like, you fussing about him working all hard. He was working extra hours. That's because he was saving up his money. And so he didn't save cash, but he opened up, he used Cash App, actually. He used Cash App, but he did not spend the Cash App. So that was like his reserve to save the money that he was saving for the ring. So I would ask him to Cash App me some money sometimes. He'd be like, no, because he was strict. That was like his form of cash, that he wasn't going to give away anything until he reached his quota to save that money. And so he was like, I deactivated my account. Now I'm trying to be detective. And I'm like, you deactivated your account? What you mean? And then around the holidays, well, he actually did it for my birthday because he couldn't keep the surprise anymore. He finally let out the big secret that he was going to get me a ring for the holidays. But that's how much planning it takes. Christmas and the holidays isn't something that just magically happens, right? It happens every year. If you're middle age, you've been going through the holidays for quite some time because it happens every single year, but somehow it's just, we don't think about it until it's here. And then it's just like in panic mode. What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
and that's, I would definitely say bonus tip. And I still got my other tips. Bonus tip is, so when it comes to, you had mentioned that you couldn't find a receipt for the warranty. This is pivotal. So we have to have a a centralized location for all our purchases, whether it be taking a picture of the receipt, taking a picture of the warranty paperwork so that you can have evidence, and have an email account stored for it if you don't want to put it in a shoebox, or if you just have to have all your receipts in one prime location so that you go back to it, especially because we buy these things that have warranties. And we just totally forget that we got a warranty. Like something breaks. Most recently, well, actually, some time ago, I bought an Xbox, and my Xbox, people know, my gamers know that when you the Xbox, the first Xbox, the red ring of death, and I was like, oh my gosh, my Xbox broke, and I don't know if it's under warranty. Let me go check, and I found the information in the email, and so I was just like, thank God. So maintain all your receipts. If you have to take a picture of the warranty paperwork, there are actually cell phone apps that allow you to consolidate all of your receipts for warranty purposes, so that you, if something breaks, you can go to that site to see, you can go to that app to see that item that was under warranty and the necessary step that you have to do to ensure that you keep your money in your pocket.
Just to add a bonus.
Bonus. Yes, that was a lesson learned. And gift receipts, definitely.
Exactly.
Give the gift receipts.
Yes, but in addition to that, let's say you have buyer's remorse. Like you bought all this crap on Amazon or wherever you bought it from. I know Amazon, I purchased something recently and I was like, I really don't need this. I don't even know why I bought this.
Yeah.
And it said the return policy was up to February. I was like, I'm about to send this joker back. So I sent it back the other day. So I'm just saying, if you buy something, you have buyer's remorse, and it's like, I really cannot really afford to do this. I don't even know why I bought it. And I haven't given it to the person as a gift, return it.
That's right. You got to save those receipts because that's money. Mm-hmm. That's your hard-earned greenbacks that if it's not being used, you have to, you can get that money back. And so companies have extended the return periods. And I know some people, okay, part of this bonus tip, when it comes to buyer remorse, the bonus tip is so, you know that some people are embarrassed to take things back. I can tell you I will return anything if I'm not satisfied. I don't care. It's my money and I worked hard for it. And so it's my money, you know that I can't remember the commercial, but it's my money and I want it now. No advertising, so I'm not gonna advertise it. So it's my money, I want it back. And so saving those receipts to return things. And so at the end of the holiday, if someone opened the item and they didn't like it, they thought that they were going to use it, but for whatever reason, it just you just didn't like it and you just decided that you don't need it anymore. Return it.
Get a store credit.
Get a store credit.
If you don't have
and even if you don't have it, and even if you don't plan to go back to the store, people sell the gift cards. People sell the store credit. And so there are ways to get that money back. You might not get all of it back, but you'll get most of it back. And so that's that another bonus tip. And so next tip.
Official tip.
Next official tip from the bonus. And so the next official tip is, does the item really have to be brand new? For my broke folks. So for my broke folks, does it really have to be brand new in the package? And I'll give you an example. I wanted a desk, a desk where you do your schoolwork on, an office desk. And so I was looking on Amazon and the desk was $150. And for me, I'm a thrifty person. People say cheapskate or whatever, but I want to keep my money in my pocket. And so I looked on OfferUp, I went on Craigslist, and I went on Amazon, and I price matched all of those things. And so someone was selling the specific desk that I was looking for. Instead of spending $150, they were selling it to me I bought it for $50, brand new. They didn't even open it out of the package. It's just people again, there are these people who don't like to return things and they just throw it in the garage or throw it in the corner. I am that person who will call you and say, I will buy that because I have a need for it.
You know what else is good?
Yes.
Facebook Market. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, I will shout them out. I love Facebook Market too, because that's another area where you can get something that and it may be brand new, and you're getting it for almost half the price. And you can negotiate down, because if it's been advertised for like 2 weeks, they're just trying to get rid of it. And so you can negotiate down and get that gift that you want for a cheaper price.
Exactly.
And wrap it up.
And do you really care about the box or the package that it came in? No, I care about the item that was in the box. And so if you put a gift wrapper around it, I can't tell if it was in a box or not. So and Charmaine can negotiate. And so that's pivotal, because the person wanted to sell the desk to me for $100, but I had told them that, look, I can just buy this thing on Amazon and it comes with a return policy. You won't take it back, and I probably won't be able to find you if you don't want to take it back. So I said, well, this is what I'm willing to spend, because then I have to drive and go pick it up, whereas Amazon will bring it straight to my front door. So I gave all those reasons and I got it for $50. And so again, does the item really need to be brand new? Now, okay, undergarments, fancy stuff, tennis shoes. Yeah, you want to have something brand new. But back in the day when I was broke, I would buy slightly used tennis shoes because I love the Nike boots. They were in the store for $150. But on eBay, someone was selling them for $50. And they show you the picture of how it looks and all that. And so what I would do when I get it, I would sanitize it, do all that good stuff. But I was a thrifty person because I was broke and I didn't have any money, and I wanted to keep my money in my pocket. And so that's something that, does it really have to be brand new? Think about that. Because at the end of the day, it still has the same, it still serves the same purpose. Yeah. And so moving on to my next tip, does it have to be the latest model?
Yes.
When I say that, Erica, she mentioned about the smartwatch. And so
so he wants to give me a replacement. I don't have a watch anymore.
Yeah, her Fitbit's gone. So so we went to the store to sort of figure out the type of smartwatch we wanted. But we know that she had a Fitbit, and a Fitbit had basic functions. She likes a Fitbit. But the smartwatch has so many more features. Even the generation that came out last year has more features than the Fitbit. And so does it have to be the latest and greatest? Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to use all the features in the brand new first generation, whatever. If it's a brand new car, a used car would just as well. The 2019 has the same features, about the same features as the 2020 or 2021. So does it really have to be the latest and greatest model?
What was the difference between the watches?
The price was the difference.
One was free.
One was free with a 2-year contract, and the other one was like $400.
I was like, you gonna spend $400?
I said I was.
It's the same watch. I mean, really.
And so
he was like, yeah, I want to get you that new one. I want the latest. I was like, why not get the free one? I don't get it.
And so I listened to that reasoning, and that was so smart. Because so that's where that our significant other it provides valuable advice and valuable thinking when we are in this shopping frenzy. And so you got to be very mindful. But of course, there are gifts that you're getting for your spouse, and you don't want them to know. So you got to think about that. So
is that the bonus tip that I just heard, or was that one of your tips? Because it looked like you kind of went off track, and then you had an accountability partner to bring you back on track.
That's right.
So is that a bonus tip?
That's a bonus tip. We just throwing out nuggets. So we throwing out gold to everybody. And I mean, if you choose to pick it up, you can pick it up, but you can leave it on the ground and let someone else pick the gold up. We just trying to save you money, keep money in your pocket. So so again, does it have to be the newest model? And then Erica mentioned as the bonus tip, I have to just go right back to that. The holiday time, we're so wrapped up in emotions. We're so wrapped up in the fanfare. We're so caught up in you should be buying a person. It's better to, give to people than to receive from people. And yeah, it feels good to give and you see the smile on people's face, but you have to think about your future. And if your future leads, if you're spending all your money and you have no money for next month's rent or to feed the family next month, because next month will come. Next month, 5 days or what? No, 6 days after Christmas is a new month, and the bank wants their money. Credit card companies want their money. The landlord wants their money. All of that, and so these are uncertain times. And so with COVID, people are losing their job. People are finding out they're losing their job. To this very day, people are still losing their jobs. They talk about a vaccine coming out and all that, and I'm not going to get on that point too much, but we are in uncertain times. And I'm reminded of a story where everything is good for so many years, but then there's a time where things get tight and money gets tight, or emotions are tight and you're fussing with each, and you have to be prepared. And so that's what planning, that's what we're talking about when it comes to planning, is ensuring that tomorrow you're still going to have those same smiles when January comes. Now, everything is amazing on Christmas Day, but some parents bought all these gifts, spent all this money, and then they're in their mind, racking their mind is, how am I going to maintain this household after December 25th? So my parents, holiday savings tip, don't get caught up in the hype, but if you get caught up in the hype, we had mentioned the previous tip, to return is crap. So my last tip, and then I'm going to go to questions and answers, is for folks who are struggling financially, there are programs out here. There are programs there are programs that give gifts to children who need them. There are programs that feed families if they don't have the money to buy the food. There are even programs out here that will help people buy cars and pay their rent or pay their mortgage. And so don't be ashamed if you don't have it. And so to save your money, to ensure that you are surviving in January, February, March, through next December, don't be afraid to ask for help. And don't be afraid to learn something new about, saving your money and ensuring that you can have that smile that you have on December 25th. That smile should run the entire year. And if you don't save your money, this is why we're here. You don't save your money, it leads to so many problems. And so
I just want to piggyback on that, because that is so important. Yeah. Because the moral of the story is, after all the points that he's given, if you don't have an emergency fund in place in your household, there will be no Christmas.
Yeah. The tough decisions have to be made.
Right, because you have to have an emergency fund.
Yeah. And so on a lighter note, so for people who love to get people gifts, love to go see people, give them gifts. Look, my wife came up with this idea. She said, look, blame not getting people gifts on the pandemic. Man, we're in a pandemic. I couldn't get that for you. I can't see you. We're in the pandemic.
People do show a lot more grace during the pandemic.
I understand. Do you know it's a pandemic?
Yeah, we're not able to meet up and exchange gifts.
Yeah. I blame it on the pandemic, girl. Blame it on the pandemic.
So, but be sure to do something creative, like one of the tips that we shared earlier. Be sure, don't just blame it on the pandemic and don't get anything. Still do something creative and do something with, within the budget, or that's free.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the tips that come to mind, and that was part of creating your budget and making sure you use cash. People love to give love to send out cards. They love to send out cards. But create a card, take a picture of it, and send it to people. And that's an e-card, but it's a free card that you created. So yeah,
Erica's face looked like it disagreed with what you just said.
They already got e-cards.
Some of those are not free.
Find the free e-cards,
A
people.
free e-card.
So
Take a picture of a card.
so yeah, so I have this mind of thinking, and I kind of stepped away from it when I started working and saving up and paying more attention to my finances. But my whole mindset was, if I can't get it free, I'm gonna get it discounted. So bonus tip for all these people out here who have friends that work for corporate America or work for the government or work or who are in the military. These friends can get you the military discount. So take advantage of that, my broke folk.
Yeah.
And that's all my tips.
That's true. Yeah. Are there any
Or
questions?
even if you're not broke and you just looking to save some money, because you don't have to pay full price for everything. If there's a way to save some money, then definitely. But I love your background. You mentioned it briefly that you grew up poor, and so now that you're in a better place, you still remember where you came from. You have humble beginnings, and so now you don't have to go out spending lavishly, but you find ways to save money, and you're helping other people do that. So thank you for serving your community and giving back. Thank you for thinking about it and reaching back to other people. I really do truly appreciate that, Tony. We do have a few questions.
Okay.
So can you talk about the emotional issue of excessive spending or overspending? I know we talked about it briefly with the retail therapy, but can you talk about that?
So if I understand the person's, and I hope to address it. So we know that we as human beings respond to stimulus, and so that retail therapy, it makes you feel good because you're not thinking about a problem. And so when you buy a gift, it gives you the high, and if you're buying a gift for someone, there's another high associated with it. And so these things marketers know that, and that's why they continue to bombard us with things to buy, things that supposed to make our life easier. But at the end of the day, simplicity is what makes our life easier. If you think about when you walk into a museum, you feel calm, you feel relaxed. But then think about when you walk into a house where a person has just stuff all over the place. It's just a junky space, and so it feels like chaos. And that's the emotional aspect of when we're spending too much money, when we are overspending, because the initial effect, then it's like taking an illegal drug. You get that high, but then you have to keep getting that high. And then there's a cost after you take that illegal drug to your health and to your overall well-being in your life. And so that's when you're spending money, you're overspending money, you're spending more than your budget can afford. You then have to pay the cost associated with overspending. So you spend today, you get the high, it feels good. You give the gift to someone, they feel good, and you feel good for giving them that gift. But then the high wears off, and you look at your bank account when the holidays have passed, and the high wears off, and then you go into a depressive state. And so this is what we hope these tips will encourage you to avoid that experience or that moment when the high wears off and you're feeling depressed and you're feeling uneasy with the poor financial decisions that are made. And so this is why these tips can help you in your life after the holiday season is over.
It's really an addiction. I mean, like you compared it, it's an addiction. And because Erica and I have been on a fitness journey, so all of us, now you, Tony, lost a lot of weight. And especially in the weight loss community, or if you have overcome some type of addiction in the past, addiction transfer is real. And you can find yourself transferring what you were once addicted to something else. And so I found myself, especially during the pandemic, as a coping mechanism, because I wasn't able to really get out, and I wasn't able to do the things that I used to do, and I wasn't working out as much as I used to work out. that I began to go online a lot more and to shop. And there was boxes coming to my house like every day, right? But it takes an awareness too to recognize that. And thank you for asking the question, the person who put it in the chat. It takes an awareness first to recognize that, okay, maybe I do have an addiction for shopping, or maybe I do have what they joke about it and they say it's retail therapy. But when in fact you may need actual therapy to deal with the connection between the high that you get from shopping with whatever is going on personally in your mind, or if it's something going on at home, because it's a way to cover up, and it's a way to make you feel good temporarily. But as we stated before, it goes away very quickly, and then you can have the guilt, and then you can have the other feelings that go along with that.
Yeah, and so I'll just add to that. When you experience that addiction, it's usually driven by stress. And so I recently took a training that talked about stress, and so when we know that we have a problem with something, they talk about identifying the problem and then having a coping mechanism to sort of prevent it from spiraling out of control. And so for my people who experience retail therapy, if a coping mechanism to help you deal with that, obviously Charmaine mentioned that you need to seek some help from a coach or a psychologist or a therapist, but to use that retail therapy, but return the stuff, return this crap. Because it might go into a closet and sit somewhere. So I think about, I'm always in the mindset of taking the time to reflect on the issues that I have, because we all have things that we are dealing with, or addictions that we may have experienced, or we know someone who has some. Reflect on that and think about how I can overcome it. Because what we know is we can overcome anything if we set our mind and we recognize that it's an issue, and then we can create a plan to combat it, to ensure that it doesn't take over our lives.
Yep, that's really good. So we are over our time, but I did have one more question. We talked about holiday savings, but what about family members who may have the holiday shopping that they have to worry about, as well as a birthday that is also in the same month? Like what tip or bonus tip would you have for them?
So people know not like this. My wife's birthday.
Let me say something. Growing up, so my birthday is on the 6th. So growing up, I don't know, I got shortchanged, y'all. It was like, I'm like, I don't know how the 6th was so close to the 25th. But anyways.
So that's where it is, like, for people who are on a budget, who have a tight budget, you have to be very cautious that it's one gift for your birthday, one creative gift, and a one gift for Christmas. And so again, we have to allow the money to drive the decision making, if we can afford it. But again, this is the time where we have to be creative for folks who don't have the money, because who want to save the money, because again, it does rain, and we do have storms. We do have financial storms. And so we have to have that savings, the emergency fund, to weather a storm. And so for the people who have birthdays that are very close, because my brother, his birthday is on Christmas. And so it was like a double whammy. It's like, well, how do I know if this is a Christmas gift or a birthday gift? Well, it's the same day. So you're going to get one gift. The same day, birthday and Christmas.
It's not fair.
It's just, it's the luck of the draw. But you were born on a happy day, so you should just be happy in general. But no, it is it is something that, like, we can get accustomed to overdoing it, or beating what we did last year, and improving on what we did last year. And it's almost impossible to get better every year. It's almost impossible, but you can incrementally improve on these gifts. So I remember watching a show. I can't remember what it was. It was the idea was that there's something you need, something you can read, and something you want. So something you need, something you can read, and something you want. I think it was in a movie or something like that. I can't remember where I heard it. But keep this thing simple, because at the end of the day, you still have to live. You have to live. Life lives beyond December 25th and a birthday. And so the idea is, again, get creative, but also don't blow the bank on the birthday gift and Christmas, because life does go on. And so again, this is where what you had mentioned, my brother did for you, was start saving on December 26th, put a penny away in a savings account for Christmas and birthdays.
And they have really good after Christmas sales.
And they do.
Yes. So start working on the next year. But I thought about it too when you were talking, because I saw Erica's face, because her birthday is coming up and she doesn't want you to treat her that way. For people who feel like they were slighted their whole lives with the birthday and the holiday thing, half birthdays. If you celebrate half birthdays, if you feel like the holidays may be too close together for the birthday, you can always split it up. Like, why not have Christmas in July, or why not have the birthday in July, or the birthday sometime earlier to prepare or lead up to the birthday, so that when the birthday comes and you get that little small gift, you won't get the face like Erica just gave her husband, right?
I love the bonus. Yeah. I love that.
Right. She loves it. So maybe all the December birthdays and the holiday birthdays, they can appreciate, their family member celebrating a half birthday. But we are out of time. So thank you so much, guys, for being on this platform and sharing these amazing tips to our families. How can we find you? How can you coach us if we need coaching? Just give us all the information.
So you can go on AntonioFBlack.com, and that's where I can be reached. It's my first name, AntonioFBlack.com. And of course, I have to give a shameless plug for my real estate wife. She's the baddest real estate agent in the nation, on the planet. And so, we work together to share financial tips with folks. But again, if you don't get it from me, if you don't like me for whatever I said, get the information from someone else. Because at the end of the day, we want you to save your money, because we want you to be happy all year around.
All right.
My website is ericasblack.com.
Spell your name, because your name is spelled differently.
ERICKA, S as in Sam, black as in the color.com. So you can find us. And you can just ask Charmaine.
Yes, you can always ask me. And you can visit our website at friendshipschools.org, or you can email us at WeCare, just WeCare, like the Care Bear, at friendshipschools.org, or you can call our hotline at 202-281-1777. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, we'll be doing a do-it-yourself project for the holidays. See you then.
Bye.